Welcome to the fourth episode of Loose Pool as we look back on the first Matchroom 9-ball event of the year, the Predator Q's Premier League pool. We're joined by the winner, Albin Ouschan, as well as Emily Fraser. And of course, I'm reunited with the one and only Carl Boys. And Albin, I'll start with you. Many congratulations. You must be on top of the world now. How are you feeling?
Yeah, thanks first. It was a great tournament. I mean, was again some ups and downs like last year, but I managed to play my best pool again in the end of the tournament, pretty much like last year. And I couldn't imagine to win the tournament because Josh played so well. Also, Shane played very well in the whole tournament. Also, Jason, of course, and many others. But maybe I had the best nerves in the end. And some say I'm the deserved winner. I'm not sure about that, but I think I just, because I don't know, I reacted better to the pressure and got my nerves down. So maybe I am.
Emily, 8 action-packed days. Seeing Albin the victor, I mean, how happy were you at the end of the tournament? It looked like it went really well.
It did go very well. It's an extremely successful event, and the feedback that we got from any fans tuning in was, we love the format and we want another day of it. What happens after these 8 days? Let's get on to the next one. And in an ideal world, in 2 years' time, we'll have a 2 days break and would be go straight into the next pool event. But for now, it was super successful. We had 2 tables, 8 days of just action-packed, like matches after match, and it really is the event that separates the best from the rest, sort of thing. And it's no disrespect to the other players, but you've really got to be on top of your game. But you've got to have every aspect of yourself prepared for this event. And I do think that even though Albin has had his ups and downs like he did at Championship League, you still have to have that all-round stamina, the mental game, and you just have to know how to attack this kind of tournament. And it was the first time for the likes of Shane Van Boning and Jason Shaw coming into this, and they were probably felt a little bit on the back foot. But fair play to Albin, because it takes a winner of a different sort of magnitude to take something like that down, and credit to you.
Carl, let's talk about Albin's mentality. I mean, you were there commentating, overseeing all the matches. 131 racks won over the week, 21 matches won from 31. I mean, obviously Albin is with us, but this is an example of one of the best, if not the best player around at the moment. How did you see it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously 8 days, it was a long format. I started to lose the plot, never mind Albin, playing. Obviously, when you just sat there commentating, it's an easy gig, really. You're just watching, and you can have a little bit of a break. You don't have to talk for a minute. You can let Phil, chatter away as he does. But obviously, when you're playing that kind of amount of matches over that amount of days, you're going to miss balls, you're going to make mistakes. But I said, like, on day 8, Albin's obviously won a lot of pool tournaments, a lot of majors recently, so he's feeling good, and maybe that will just give him that little bit of a kick. And obviously on day 8, that's what happened, and he was the deserved winner in the end.
Such big games, Carl. I mean, let's talk about that semi-final with Shane. Albin getting there at the end, but it was topsy-turvy.
Yeah, as Albin said, Shane played great, but I think Shane plays great at most pool tournaments, to be honest. He's one of the most consistent. He don't really ever play that bad, maybe in the Moscone. Sorry, USA fans. But, obviously he was there. And I think overall, if you look at the 4 semi-finalists, probably the 4 biggest players, from USA and Europe at the minute. And I think all in all, it just ended really well. And, obviously Albin can beat Shane, Shane can beat Albin, but Albin's winning a lot of the tournaments and probably just had the edge in the end.
Albin, getting to the final against Josh, someone you know really, really well. 4-0 down in the final. Did you think that's it? Josh has won. What were your thoughts?
Actually, the way he started the match and the way I started the match, I thought it's going to be a whitewash, 100%, because he got some rolls. He played good. He made some incredible shots. I was a little bit unlucky on the first break, so I thought, okay, maybe I can go to dinner maybe in 15 minutes. So, but then he made some, I would say, strange decisions. By taking the the jump after my dry break, and he played a funny push out, which I wouldn't have played like that, and that actually gave me the opportunity to get back in the game.
Looking at the tournament, Albin, it sets up you really well for the rest of the year, but it's the perfect start. I mean, you must have been very tired at the end of the tournament as well. The amount of games played and such high quality opponents every time.
Yeah, I think I slept about 18 hours in the last 24 hours. So no, of course it makes you tired. You're super exhausted. I think again I lost like 2 kilos or something, because you're like always under pressure. You cannot really relax except in the evening, when everything's done. But even then, if you just had a match, you're just thinking about the upcoming days or the day you just had, all the matches, what mistakes have you made, and that keeps you thinking. So I think without sleeping pills, I could never sleep there, because your brain is working 24/7. So yeah, I said it's like a boot camp.
Emily, I was watching it at home on the Matchroom streams, and these
sad,
guys.
You sad,
yeah. I can't win with you. But these guys, there's such potential here, isn't there? Because they've all got their own characters, all got their own personalities, all got their styles of play. I mean, it wasn't one game where you'd look away. Every game seemed to be exciting.
Do you know what? I just bloody love this sport, and you come away from an event like Premier League and it reignites your love for it. And it's just such a shame that we don't have enough events to sort of keep that going. But I just seeing the Premier League, there's 2 sides to the format. There's that one side where, and it applies to both people, both players, and obviously the crew working on site. It's a relentless 8 days of matches. It's long hours. The atmosphere is a bit different in there. It's not your Moscone Cup auditorium where you've got all the fans screaming. It is literally, you are just grinding matches, in a format, in a league format. But then there's the flip side of it. I mean, if I was a player and I was going into the year and I was starting off my season with 8 days where, 5 days, you've got 15 matches to play. It's a huge, like Albin said, it's a boot camp, it's a warm-up. There's nothing better than getting those race to 5s, and you're on and off the table back to back. And sometimes you see at these big tournaments, you've got a lot of waiting around. You haven't really got much to do. You can't, it's not like you go out for dinner, you've got to stay near the table, you've got to know when your match is. But at Premier League, it's this different kind of format where you're there and, you're sort of up and down all the time coming to play. And I just think it's incredible sort of, I say practice, but the event's, better than practice as such. But it's the best event to get you geared up for the season. So it's a big tick on that side of things. But as you're starting to look at the format, look at how we improve certain things, there are so many options that we can do with it. And there's, whether we bring in fans moving forward for the final stages, that's something that we would look at. And I felt for the players there, because I went and sat in the arena and it was a horrible atmosphere, because it's weird, Paul, being played in silence. That's one thing that we always want to step away from. Obviously, the tournament started in the pandemic and it was naturally played behind closed doors. So we've just followed that. There's a lot of different factors as soon as you let crowds in and spectators, but we don't want to lose the style of Paul where you walk into the World Championship or you walk into a UK Open event and you can walk between all of the different tables, you can see your player in action and you can wander around. So there is a style of that we don't want to lose from the Premier League, but it's just a different nature of the event. So I did really feel for the players on that side, but also it prepares you for something totally different. If you're a player that, really just reacts well from the audience or acts differently, this just throws you into a total different scenario. So I think it's a real tester to the players. And that's why I was so pleased this year that we really had the elite. Because it really, if I'm Albin, I'm sitting there thinking, well, I just took on the best in the format that no one else would really be able to come through on, and you'd be feeling on top of your game and on top of the world. So I think it just gets you ready into the World Championship to defend your title. Just really, really great format. I love it.
Yeah, you've actually answered my question on the crowd, so that's interesting. Maybe looking forward on maybe like a finals day, something like that. But it's funny, Carl, Emily gets it all the time. Well, he wasn't there, he wasn't able to go. But the lineup was fantastic, given we are just finally coming out of the pandemic officially. But Carl, what players did you take? I mean, it was so star-studded. I thought Kelly Fisher played really well. But what kind of players did you think played well, and maybe some sort of maybe disappointed?
Well, I think we all know how bad Catchy was. We wouldn't have put him bottom of the league, would we? That was like incredible, weren't it? But he's a young man, and he said to me he didn't really know the rules and all this, and he also said he took it a little bit for granted because he had so many matches. But obviously, when every point counts, which of course was the right thing to do, you can't afford to be losing matches, can you? Because you keep your points for every event. So that was pretty crazy. Also, Lucius Yappi didn't really play that great as well. But like you said, Kelly got off to a good start, but then sort of unravelled a little bit. A bit like last year at the CLP, it was a very similar story. But I think overall, after the first 10 days, when you look at the leaderboard, if you had a pen and you sort of row it out, other than Catchy, you wouldn't be very far off.
Yeah. I think the Catchy situation is it's a poor excuse to hear. I mean, he never openly turned around to me and said that he didn't know the rules, because probably would have thrown him out of the building if he'd said that to me. But he was at Championship League Pool, so he knew what the setup was yesterday and last year. And so why not come into the Premier League and look at it and actually think, well, hang on a second, I've got a good chance here, and put some time and effort into it. I know that a lot of the players were travelling, like Alex Kazakis. He won the 10-ball event coming over, and a lot of the players were all tired, and I get that as part of the scheduling. Yeah. How are we ever going to develop a tour if we can't even get to the point where players are coming into an event not even prepped to know what the event is? I mean, it's totally poor on his side, and it's just devalued the event totally and disrespects it. The thing is, if you don't perform in these events, you're not going to get through on the rankings anymore. So I hope that that's kind of like a lesson learned to him, because sleeping in, getting your racks docked, when would we ever have that in pool except from like a big open event where someone hasn't turned up? I would never have thought that any of our top 16 players would sleep in and not make one of the matches. It's terrible, but there are so many different characters in there and so many different players that could have an opportunity at this. And it's a shame that, they lose out on that opportunity for someone that may take it for granted.
Well, Albin, before we move on, I mean, it is a tough week, but you have to take full responsibility. You have to manage yourself, don't you? In all tournaments, it is pretty relentless, the tournaments you play. I was following you all in America, and I'm thinking, you guys are going to sleep. I saw Aloysius Yap about to board a flight, then he had a game a few hours later. You have to manage your time, don't you?
Of course. I mean, we're professional athletes. We're traveling around the world. We have so many tournaments, and I think it should be possible to set an alarm. I mean, otherwise for next time, he should bring his mom maybe to the tournament. But, what I just didn't get, he didn't play a single tournament after the Mosconi Cup. But then right before a trip to the UK, he thought, okay, well, I'm going to fly to the US first, to have a nice jet lag when I get to the UK. And that was pretty much the only thing I didn't quite understand. So it's his fault, I mean, we don't have to talk about that. But that's sometimes the way he is, he's like, take me the way I am, or you know what? And but that's not he's not that professional yet. He's a young guy. He's not new to the tour, but he has that Albanian mentality, and it's quite tough, I think, for him to travel alone and do things alone.
I'd be still not reflecting what Earl said many years ago. You're good, but you're not great.
You're not great. Yeah.
That's the worst American accent I've ever heard in my life.
Let's look ahead now. I mean, Emily, we'll come to you now. We'll come to the darts player Carl in a minute. You know, if you're watching on YouTube, Carl also is quite good at darts. You know, so look how he's positioned his camera there. Oh, my cousin plays darts.
180.
Anyway,
180 as well, Bridget.
Oh, you stuck that in well, didn't you? Yeah, well done there, mate. Yeah, fantastic. Everyone's really impressed.
Michael, can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
I was actually on that excellent thing. I was actually surprised that Emily didn't send him home.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it's the worst thing you can do when it's live TV. I mean, he gave up 2 racks or something, and he came too late on live TV. And I think, to be honest, if I would have been you, I would just say, okay, thanks, excellent, thanks for coming, and see you.
It's a talking point, isn't it? It's a story.
Yeah, I think but I get what Albin's saying, and also on Shane's perspective, who I think was the player that was waiting for him to come in. It's, you know, he's sitting there and he's ready, and it's a piss take, to be honest. And I get what you're saying, Albin. I think on our side, I didn't really need to send him home, because I already knew as soon as you sleep in, and the way that his attitude was, he was going to send himself home. I'd much rather him do that on his own back than me sending him, and he learns from his own lessons. And I think one thing with the structure that we've put into place with these 9-ball events now, with a tournament director who's actually worked in snooker side of things and can see what happens on snooker events in these sort of situations, because it does happen on some of the snooker events. And, you know, he sat down, he said, this is the rules. And, you know, we were all there, we all know what the rules are. As soon as you are late, this gets docked. And we did it in the way that we communicated it. And like, I didn't even have a conversation with him about it, because I knew he was embarrassed within himself. And his performance, you know, he was conceding some of the racks. Again, our tournament director had a conversation with him to explain, this is live TV, it's not what you do. But everything doesn't go unnoticed. We've taken it on board. All of our events, yes, we're working off of ranking points, which is great. That's the future of the sport. But there's still wild cards that are at each event. And if Kachi ever thought that he was settling on a wild card, he needs to really wake up and smell the coffee, as I should say, because it's not going to happen. If, you know, we are in live TV at the moment, and everyone needs to understand that that sort of behaviour just won't be tolerated.
Emily, stay with you. Let's look ahead now, because we've got some great tournaments to look forward to, haven't we? Do you have any updates starting with the World Championship? Anything in terms of logistics, players, anything like that?
Yeah, so the World Championship, so this year, there's obviously a lot of changes to what we're doing with entry into our event. So the World Pool Championship, like WPA, you get 50 allocations for federations and players. Then the rest come off of our rankings combined with wildcards. So moving forward, it's going to be great that we can have 64 of the 9-ball rankings, 50 allocations, and the rest wildcards, for instance. So players are starting to be confirmed for the event. Tickets go on sale next Monday for the event as well. If you're sitting on the fence about whether to buy a ticket, if you think World Pool Championship, think of basically the elite of the US Open. So you can go to the different tables, but the seating is going to be a lot more. It's going to be better for a spectator. You can go up on the seating bank sort of thing, watch, you know, have 4 tables to choose from. Or you can wander around and you can sit on one of the lower tables, like what we do at the US Open, or there's raised seating around table 1. So we've really tried to, because we haven't had a World Championship with fans, like, I mean, in our era, years back when whoever was sort of doing it, but in our times, we haven't had fans at the World Championship, and it's the elite. It's, you know, the best 128 players coming to town to be crowned world number 1. So everyone who is there is going to be able to watch all of the different tables, fan experience. There's VIP coming into play for the final day. So this is really going to be the proper Matchroom World Pool Championship. The staging looked great last year, but this is really...
Milton Keynes?
Somebody's excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Milton Keynes.
Yeah, we had it on the final day, didn't we, fans? It was a bit more of a tester, wasn't it? But you're saying this is going to be proper, the real thing this time, and
yeah, like everyone can come in during, it's from the start of the tournament all the way through. You can come in. It's like unreserved, allocated.
A season ticket.
Unallocated. It's a season ticket. It's like £100 to come for the week. It's bloody brilliant.
That's less than 10 pints in London, everyone. Watching the world. 100 for Carl in Blackpool. But yeah. Carl, this is exciting, isn't it? I mean, you've just had a week in the Premier League pool, and it sets us up for some real belting major tournaments.
Yeah, because obviously years gone by, you might play like the World Championships in frigging Qatar or something, nobody watching, and there's no media about it. It was like shocking. And then the next event might be like the US Open when it used to be in Virginia 4 months later, as where now, obviously, when we go to the World Championships, we can talk about the PLP, obviously who won, who did well, and then obviously what's coming up, because there's obviously a lot more events, and this is what the likes of Albin and all the professionals want.
Yeah, Albin got the World Cup as well. Now, that was a really frustrating one for you last year, wasn't it? You're practically my co-presenter after that. Is that something you're looking to... He did very well. Oh, yeah, he did spot jobs. Yeah, go on. So long ago now,
yeah. That was horrible. I mean, because I actually I told that to Phil and Michael at the tournament while I was commentating. I actually helped them to get on the plane. Team Slovakia, they weren't allowed to go on the plane because they didn't have any invitation letter with them, or the locator form. They didn't fill out anything, so I helped them to get on the plane and get there. And then they beat us that bad. Was quite horrible. I mean, I still enjoyed the time after, with you, of course, Michael, and to look a little bit behind the scenes, and so that was fun. But the tournament overall was quite horrible. But I'm looking forward to play again.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? I have to say, I mean, obviously I was new, I've worked in other sports. The fact that you guys can literally finish a match, then jump into the commentary box, it's no mean feat. It's not easy. I honestly, full respect to you, I think it's absolutely fantastic. But I'm sure you'll go better this time.
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, then Emily, I mean, it's a tournament that people keep asking me about. The UK Open, I mean, I know you're really excited for this one.
I'm also very, very, very anxious about it. I lose sleep at night over the UK Open. It's that event where, I'm not going to lie, like we took a massive punt on it, and we were when we were doing the US Open, we were getting ready to go over to Harrah's in Atlantic City. Barry and I were having a lot of discussions at the office, and we were talking about how we need to move forward with our open fielded events, and we need to go to different places in the world and bring these open tournaments in. And we're kind of talking about it, and we were talking about the UK Open, and we were like, just wonder if we're doing all of this and if there's actually any demand for 9-ball in the UK. The Riley's clubs close. You go into a pool hall, or you go into a bar in America, and there's a pool table there. That's not the case here in the UK anymore. So we were questioning whether there's actually demand. We suffer on our ticket sales when it comes to a World Cup, a World Pool Masters, if it was here in the UK, for instance. So we took this risk, and we were in the US. I remember having a phone call with him, and I was like, right, we're going to go for it. Let's announce the UK Open. And we announced it. And then all of a sudden, it just exploded in the UK. And we were just like, okay, shit, this actually is going to be quite big. Then we got geared up for the entries. put everything into position. And because we got such a big response back from the UK Open, we hit the button with the European Open. We were like, right, let's do both of them. Then we've opened the entries for the UK, and yeah, we held a few spaces back. Obviously, because we've got a bunch of American players who want to earn their ranking points to get onto the Mosconi Cup. They're not in the UK Open. So we're just finalising that to ensure that, you know, your Oscar Dominguez gets on, your Chris Reinhold gets in, Shane Wolford, they will get onto the UK Open. But then we never anticipated that there'd be, I think it's 384 players on the waiting list. Now, I'm that sad. I've gone through that waiting list and I have it printed out on A3, and I've counted everyone who is British. 80% of the people on that waiting list are all Brits, which is just, but obviously there's, you know, a lot of English 8-ball players that are coming along to play, and they want to be drawn up against an Albin Ouschan. Like they want to go on to, imagine being your first match of the tournament and you're just an amateur player, or you play 8-ball or whatever, and you're playing Albin on, you know, the TV table. It's mind-blowing. And to be able to, we've done that now in the UK, to be able to go to the different countries or different places in the world to do that, it's just all of a sudden we're going to create this entire world of professional pool. And now I'm just so excited to get the European Open on sale. So it is a bit nervous about the UK Open coming up. We're at the Copper Box, which is quite a phenomenal arena. Totally different to what we're normally used to. We do our netball and our basketball events at the Copper Box. So to take a pool event there is totally different. We've got a mixture of snooker players there. We need to make sure we've got officials, you know, how the tables are going to be set up. We've got Sky Sports coming in for the final 2 days to do their own production. So usually the Mosconi Cup is the only event where Sky Sports do the production for it, which is a little bit of a different production. They're coming in for the UK Open. They're going to bring a different feel to the event, which is fantastic for it. So
Emily, I've got a
really
question.
need to, yeah.
4-inch pockets every table.
Diamond, 4 1/4, like the US Open.
Oh, okay.
So pack it in.
Albin,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so exciting hearing about the UK Open, but I watched your match in the US Open. Obviously, it's such a tough competition, the US Open. But, you know, what's your thoughts on the American tournaments this year, with that one in particular?
Well, it's great. I mean, the schedule or the calendar is packed. You know, we got the back-to-back tournaments in different continents, and it's going to be crazy. I was looking for some holidays this year, but there's pretty much no time, you know. But I'm really looking forward to it. And, you know, I'm super excited. I'm in good shape. I'm feeling good on the table, and I think US Open, UK Open, I think they're the biggest tournaments, or even also the World Championships, of course. But besides the World Championships, they're the biggest ones. And with like, was it 256 players?
For the Open events, yeah. But also, I forgot to note, the World Pool Championship, total prize money has gone up to 325 this year. I mean, it's the second year of us taking it on, and we've already increased the prize money.
That's
so
awesome.
Obviously we're going to look at the breakdown, because we're going to adapt the format slightly. We were doing a group format before for the World Championship. What we're trying to do is make all of our multi-table events consistent, like what we're trying to do with the rules of the game, for instance. So we're looking at that a little bit closely, but we have just increased the prize fund for it. So 325 for this year is going to be quite special.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, Open tournament is always tough. You know, you play like almost double matches than at the World Championships or whatever. And we also know that there are some very tight matches. You know, it's like sometimes it's just one mistake, like the PLP that cost you the match against Shane. You know, he just played perfect at the US Open against me. And well, then it could be quite quick over.
Yeah. We want to do something with you now, Albin, inside the mind of Albin Ouschan. What did you think when you were winning 10 in a row? What was going through your head? I'm the best?
Oh, no. Well, some matches, I didn't lose. It was more like my opponent lost. It was more like he lost and I won because they made some mistakes. In some matches, I just played a perfect set. Sometimes it was like a head-to-head where I went 5-4. I said before the tournament, I think it's the field was way tougher than last year. And I think, of course, on papers you got some favorites, but I think in the end it was pretty much every match was like a coin flip before the leg who would win this match. But yeah, 10 out of 10 was I think crazy. Then I played I think Shane, Jason, Skyler like back to back and lost 3 or 4 in a row. But after the first 10 matches, I was like, okay, I'm through to stage 2. I think that was the only thought I had.
Carl, I think, didn't he also win the unofficial Cold Boy shot of the tournament? Was it on day 2?
Well, he's attempting the famous Efren Reyes Z shot here. He's going to go in between the... Well, look at that. Not only is he attempting it, he's got himself a YouTube highlight reel. That will be all over social media in the next 10 minutes. The old Efren Reyes Z shot.
I don't think even Efren Reyes could have played it any better than that. Magnificent stuff. Look at this.
Your commentary, that's a YouTube sensation.
Probably. Oh, yeah. There was that
There was.
bridge in. It was 8 days. I watched 8 days of pool pad.
That's why I said day 2.
That was day 1, I believe.
Day 1.
That was
All right, Albin.
that was the first match of the tournament.
Which shot was it, Albin?
The Z shot of Efren.
Oh, yeah, the Z shot. Efren, yeah. I got slated. No, that was not like Efren's. That's right.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Z.
Yeah.
But you did say YouTube sensation, didn't you,
Yeah.
Carl?
Yeah, he'll be all over YouTube now, pal. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. I'm only teasing, mate. It was brilliant commentary. Right, from the ups and the downs in your career, Albin, what motivates you?
No, of course. I mean, the work from Predator and Matchroom, of course. I mean, they increase prize monies. They look for bigger, better tournaments every year, and I think that's what it's all about. I mean, the passion has to be there, because if there's no passion, then I think I wouldn't play anymore. But of course, the passion is there because I'm winning. If I would lose all of the tournaments, it would be tougher. But yeah, I mean, it's tough, with family and everything. You probably know it as well, Carl, of course. With family, it's tough sometimes, when you just have to leave them at home and just FaceTime or whatever. But that also gives me some motivation to perform better, and maybe gives me the final push to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, that is something which I think is overlooked massively in all sports. Speaking to someone away at the moment, a cricketer who hasn't seen his family for months, it can be tough. Emily, now she said to you about smiling more, right? This is not my words, but is this just your poker face? I mean, it's a lovely face, but is it a poker face?
Oh, Albin.
Hold up.
Are you talking?
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Emily talking about you smiling more.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Emily's poker face.
No.
Oh
yeah. Well, she smiles a lot. Yeah. I mean, no.
Yeah.
Is this your poker face?
You mean like being stone cold, or?
Yeah, stone cold. Yeah.
Well, I was always like that. I mean, of course, you see me frustrated and sometimes smashing the cue, but that's also me. I have to leave it right there, right after, as soon as it happens. I cannot swallow it down. There's no chance. And sometimes, when something just happens, it's like this little click, and my cue is already on the table or whatever. And then right after, I think, oh, maybe there was just bad behavior on the TV table. But in that second, it's the right decision, just boing. And
sometimes it's like it. Honestly, Albin, like, I love you to death, but in between the matches, you'll be sat there and it's like you don't even want to be there. And it's whether you're just sat there and you're fuming at what's just happened in the previous game, or whether there's something else that you're thinking about, or you're going to the next one. but you are on this like roller coaster of your journey at the events, and it's I've only really seen it at the Championship League and at the Premier League, where it's you're kind of like you're just fuming at the situation. And sometimes I think I'm like, does he want to be here? Does he want to go home? And I think it's just
yeah.
Quite someone said it to me, and I can't for the life of me remember who it was, but someone said that you used to react quite badly like a couple of years back, and used to really like, you know, slam your cue and stuff like that. But I've obviously not really seen that side of you. So has that changed?
Honest, yeah, it definitely has changed. But I think also my mindset is just totally different when it comes to matchroom tournament. I think it just brings the best out of me in pretty much every tournament. I don't want to talk bad about it, you know, but when I came to a Euro Tour or I was driving to a Euro Tour, I already had a bad feeling. I had a bad mindset that it's work for nothing, you know, and because there's no media, no press, no TV or whatever. So my mindset is just completely different. But last year CLP was just way too much for me, you know, because it was like working every day for 10 hours for nothing, you know, and then not qualifying. So, but I can tell you one thing, and that has always been like that. It doesn't matter if I'm fuming, slamming the table, sitting in a chair, if I'm just bored as hell. I can tell you, if I get back to the table, I'm 110% back at the table. You know, I give everything.
Yeah.
Just that guy in the chair is a different guy, like on the table.
It's interesting. Maybe you just have resting bitch face.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
And talk about, you know, the media coverage you get back in Austria, for those that don't know, and you know, how do you feel? How do you enjoy it with the limelight? I mean, any limelight you get is fully deserved, but I mean, tell us more about the coverage you get.
Well, it's quite good. You know, they are at certain tournaments. They have been at the Predator tournament last year. They also did some coverage from past tournaments when I was European champion, or from the World Championships. They had a couple of clips, you know, which they showed on TV in the biggest channel in Austria. I got Athlete of the Year in my state, which is quite big, you know, with skiing and swimming and whatever we have in Austria, soccer, of course. So they're a quite big athletes, so it was quite an honor to win the trophy. But of course, you cannot compare it to soccer or skiing. I mean, there's like, it's a different story. But I actually like it the way it is. You know, I don't want to go into the city and people, I don't know, passing me and asking for autograph or whatever. I think I would get really, really tired of that.
Yeah,
but imagine if we actually get to that point, though. Like, imagine that Paul actually gets to that point.
Of course, I think it would be great in the beginning, but I think then you would get easily tired of it.
Yeah. Carl, what's it like? You all right with it?
I'm fine with it. I'll sign anything.
Yeah, with your YouTube channel.
Anything, don't you? Anything. Yeah. Anyway, those listening, those watching, if you don't know much about Albin Ouschan, you will in 1 minute, because we're going to do a little quick fire questions for Albin. Firstly, Albin, what do you do to switch off? A bit of time off. What do you do?
Actually, I really like to. I really like to go for a run. I mean, if you're talking about tournaments, then definitely go to the gym or for a nice little run outside to clear my head.
Nice. Where in the world would you love to play 9-ball, which maybe you don't at the moment?
At the mall where we had the World Cup of Pool in Manila, was like 10 years ago. Something like that.
Yeah.
You maybe know Emily.
I'm just writing it down.
It was incredible. They actually stopped the escalators so people could stand on it. There were like 3 floors. They were standing in the circle. It was incredible.
Fantastic. Well, we know what Josh Fillers is, but what's your takeaway of choice?
Takeaway of choice.
Yeah, fast food.
Oh, well, in Milton Keynes, Wagamama.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what sport would you play if it wasn't a cue sport?
Tennis.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Actually.
Yeah.
Who's can you see that, Emily?
But I would be John McEnroe probably.
Really? Oh, you can't be serious. Oh, that's right. Right, who's the right? Who's the funniest player on tour?
Fedor.
I think
You've got a weird personality.
I would go with Jason. I think he's very, very interesting guy, funny. It's always nice to talk with him or having a drink with him in the evening. He tells a lot of stories.
Yeah, funny to laugh with and laugh at, I think, but Carl,
Sure.
Would you agree with that? We've got to say Jason, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And Darren
Appleton. Yeah. I call him UK Gold because he repeats himself. Who's got the worst fashion sense on tour? You can't have Carl because he's retired. So think of someone playing now.
Worst fashion sense. So you mean as a dress player? So at the tournament?
Yeah. Gomez, maybe? I don't know. Jeff, no.
Fedor, shocking.
Oh, Fedor.
Wow, that's a tough one. I think maybe Zelensky.
Calling out Zelensky.
Yeah, because he's still wearing the shirts when he had like 100 kilos or something, and he never bought new ones.
Albin, what about Ralph? He's still wearing 1998 World Pool Masters t-shirt.
Well, if you can fit.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I got one. Corey.
Oh, Corey, yeah, it's a good shout actually.
And Earl. Earl is wearing like 3 sweaters, and I don't know what he does sometimes, but yeah.
Who would you choose to road trip with, and why? Who would be your road trip buddy?
I think I would kill Josh after a week, so Josh definitely not. No, I think to be fair, I think Max Lechner, I think he's pretty much like me, calm, collected. We're traveling a lot, so that would be the easiest for me.
Okay. Who yours would have been, Carl? Jason?
Yeah,
Darren.
Jason. No. Tell us something we don't know about you.
How do you say it? I think you actually found already out that I think you should never change a winning team. So if I'm winning, I never change my playing shirt. I think I said that already before once at the interview, but that's pretty much the biggest thing what people may not know about me.
Great.
So what we've learned. So we've learned today that Albin Ouschan smells of BO. We've learned.
I'm actually washing them, but I always have to keep the same one. No, I'm very strict with that.
Yeah.
No, fair. Yeah. And finally, where do you see? I mean, this is like a job interview one, this one, but it's interesting in the sense of the growth.
Where
of
do
the
you
sport.
see yourself in 10 years?
Well, I was going to make it easier. 5. I'll do 5.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully still playing, of course, traveling around as soon as, or still when the passion is still there, it's fine with me, I hope to see tournaments with maybe 100K for first. That's what I hope to see, because I think pole is a very nice sport. I think it's played pretty much everywhere, all over the world. And I think it's the only sport which probably every person on earth played already. Doesn't matter if he's like 14 or 80. And but myself, I see, I mean, hopefully in the top 10 or something in the world, still on fire and still winning the PLP.
Brilliant. Look, before we let you go, you talk about that in terms of everyone having a pool table. Do you get the feeling, I know I certainly do, is that this sport, which you dedicate your life to, is growing fast and something you're really excited about?
It does definitely right now. Yeah, I think it could have been here already many years ago if you change some persons, or some people. But it was quite tough, playing in Doha with no crowd for many years. I think the people got tired of it. So I think everyone was super excited when we heard that Matchroom takes the World 9-ball back and all the other tournaments. Increasing the field, increasing the prize money, increasing tournaments, and so on. So I think everyone is really looking forward to the upcoming years for pool.
Brilliant. Albin, thank you so much for joining us on this special Loose Pool podcast. And we'll speak to you very soon.
Yeah, thanks.
Brilliant.
Take care,
Thanks,
guys.
Albin.
Bye. Have a good one.
Take care, mate. So that was Albin Ouschan there, certainly the one to watch as we head into a huge year of 9-ball. Now, Emily and Carl are still with me. Emily, we talked about the tournaments involving Albin. You've got quite a bit of ticket news for everyone.
Yeah, I have to be careful because I get so excited and I've got my braces in and I can't really talk. So when I'm getting excited, I'm talking about pool and I'm just going to spit everything. Sorry. Look, there's so much coming up. It's 2022. We already knew this when we launched the 9-ball world rankings at the beginning of the year. We knew that it was going to be a huge task ahead of us. I mean, we're still getting requests coming in at the moment about new ranking events. We're trying to keep 2022 as it is and project more for next year. So we have a more streamlined series of events coming up. But for this year, I mean, you've got the World Championship. You've got you can come and watch that event. Tickets are on sale on Monday. Got an increased prize fund. You're going to get the top 128 players. We already know that the Coe brothers are traveling over to the UK. They want to play in the World Championship. They want to play in the World Pool Masters, and they want to play in the World Cup Pool. So all of a sudden, the world is opening back up. We're going to start seeing our field come back to that elite status. The 9-ball rankings will start coming into actual live effect as of December 2022. And next year, you'll start actually seeing that taking shape. And people will have this transparent view of how they can make these tournaments. You've got the UK Open, a brand new event. You've got the European, a brand new event. Then you've got the World Pool Masters, the top 24 players in the world. You've got a brand like Premier League that's just happened. You've got the US Open that's going to be at Harrods for the next couple of years, which is only going to expand. And then you've got the absolute baby, which is the Moscone Cup, finishing off that year. And tickets going on sale this evening. The seating design, I mean, it's quirky. It's going back to our 2018 Alexandra Palace vibe, 360 arena. Let's get the commentators into the seating banks. Let's bring the players into the seating where the production is. Let's really just close it all in that one table. And I cannot wait because all I'm hearing right now is USA fans want to get there and they want to cheer their country on. And what I love just the most out of everything to do with pool is the patriotic side of the USA team when it comes to the Moscone Cup. Those 5 players and the captain all want to do it for their country. And you see the rest of the Americans come on board with that. And they just, you saw them in 2019 at Mandalay Bay. They were just wild. They just took the atmosphere to a completely different level. And now the world is opening back up. Europeans are going to get on that plane. Everyone wants to go to Vegas for a week. You've got VIP packages that basically will help you save a bit of money if you want to get absolutely tanked up. You've got new couches that you can sit on. in the arena. We're trying a few new things. We want to take the Moscone Cup to a level where we're selling out 4,000 to 5,000 seats for the event. So it's just, there is so much ahead of us for this year. And even though we're introducing all these new events, we're also trying to develop the events we currently have. So everything just takes that next step up. And we're only going to get bigger and better. And so just watch this space, really.
Brilliant. Well, I want to talk to you about the one tournament we haven't mentioned either. There's one I really enjoyed last year was the World Pool Masters in Gibraltar. You've got ticket news on that as well.
Yeah, we went on sale last Saturday with the World Pool Masters. So you can go on to Matchroom Pool and get a link to buy tickets for Gibraltar. But it's a cool little holiday destination. If you want to go and get some sun for a couple of days, we've scheduled it in May. It works a lot better for the players getting, into Gibraltar. We know with the flights, and it's more of a nice couple of days trip. It's the top 24 players, and the 4-inch pockets on those brassons. It was totally different last year. I mean, we just saw the level of play. It's everything. It's getting better. These players are getting better, and they're coming through the ranks, and that's what we need to be. All of our matchroom events need to be that status. They need to be the best playing conditions in order to show and to produce the world champions and the best players.
Yeah, I've been to Gibraltar many, many times, and I think it's quite reasonable at the moment, under 80 quid. Carl, Gibraltar, I mean, it's a nice place, a good place, and it's, as Emily said there, you can go and see some great pool for a few days.
Yeah, obviously, the World Pool Masters has been around a long time, and it's a tournament that all pool players want to get in, let alone win the event. And obviously with 24 players going there, I think if you're a fan of pool and you want that sort of little trip somewhere nice, Gibraltar definitely ticks the bill. It's a great place, and the venue's great, and everything's close by, the restaurants and bars. And I think it is. I think for the fans as well, it's a great tournament to go to, not just for the players.
Yeah, I mean, last year we were there, weren't we? I mean, we were still in a pandemic, and football and all sports didn't have a crowd. Gibraltar, I think, was one of the first countries, let's be careful here, but I think to be fully vaccinated. So we were allowed crowds, and a lot of the bars were open without masks and everything like that. So it was a nice few days to feel back to normal, but we saw some great pool as well, with Alex Gazakis winning the final in the end as well. Right, Carl, we've got a bit of a competition going on here. Win a signed Premier League pool jersey signed by all 10 players from the second stage. And you are going to set the question.
Oh, gosh.
No, I'm only joking.
Here we go.
How old is Emily? No, that's not the question. Right,
my goodness.
The question is, which pool player has the nickname the Dancing Bear?
The what?
The Dancing Bear. Which pool player has the nickname the Dancing Bear? I'll give you a small clue. It is not Chris Mellin, before anybody guesses Chris Mellin.
Okay, so there you go.
He can't dance.
And for those who don't recognise Carl's northern voice, which nickname is the Dancing Bear?
I've never heard that in my life.
Email your question.
I've actually never heard this.
No, well, that's good. Email your answers. Emily, you're not allowed to enter. Email your answer to paul@matchroom.com. Any other business, Emily? I mean, this is an extended pod, but I make no apology. It was a good one.
I'm just typing into Google, pool player called the Dancing Bear.
Cheating. That's cheating.
Right. That says to me. That says to me we are done for today's episode of Loose Pool. Emily, as always, thank you for joining me. Carl, I like your new haircut, nice and short, look sharp, work sharp, as they say. Keep across everything on our Matchroom channels at Matchroom Pool, and we will see you very soon. Thanks for joining us.
And Moscone Cup tickets are on sale today.
Richie,
yeah.
Don't come in your pajamas next time.
I won't. Once again, thanks for joining us.